The unbeaten streak stands at 12 now for the Portland Thorns, and tonight the league leaders will put it all on the line, hosting FC Kansas City here at Providence Park. The two-time defending NWSL champs are in town. Unbeaten Thorns sit atop the NWSL table with 26 points going into tonight's match. Some big results already in the books. The Flash Spirit with big victories. So as you see, those two clubs, Western New York and Washington, nipping on the heels of the Portland Thorns. Good evening, everybody. Ann Scott's joined by my broadcast partner. That's Janine Sparrow, former great with the U.S. Women's National Team. All right, another makeshift lineup for Mark Parsons and the Portland Thorns. Yet, you look at what they did last week with that kind of a lineup against Sky Blue. Reason for hope.
It was a really solid performance. I mean, from the beginning to the end, you know, they got scored on, they came back, they did a great job. I mean, they were in the lead. They really put it together. So you try to say that it's a makeshift lineup, but it didn't really look like that.
I love it. You know, every club is affected by call-ups for the upcoming Olympics. Portland, you can really see the starters that are missing from the lineup, from Sinclair all the way down to Allie Long. 7 starters with Olympic duties under their belts right now, all those caps, all that experience, and yet there is some firepower in Portland lineup. Let's talk about Dagny Brynja's daughter, who is a starter for this club, has been a couple of stints off the bench. She's dangerous.
She is dangerous, and she is really the person that's solidifying the middle of that field. They put the GPS tracker on her. She did 10 to 11 kilometers, which I think is around 7.6 miles, which is a huge high number, which means she's covering a lot of ground, getting all over the field, not just sitting in there and defending, but getting forward and obviously getting the goal.
Yes, getting forward for sure, and also a huge piece on the set pieces. She's a dangerous target.
She is, you know, she knows where to be. She got up there, great touch on the ball. That's so subtle, but just absolutely perfect in where she put it.
Nicole Barnhart minding the nets for FC Kansas City, one of the game's best.
She is. National team player, standout, international. I mean, she has done a great job from college to the international game. She's as solid as they come.
So these two teams played to a 1-1 tie earlier this season in Kansas City. Look for another defensive battle tonight. We have got the lineups and opening kickoff here at Providence Park in just a moment.
Turn pizza night into family dinner night with Papa Murphy's new $5 Faves value menu. For just $5 each, add a fresh garden salad, scratch-made 5-cheese bread, a $5 Faves pizza, or chocolate cookie dough. Just $5. It's a real value.
2 more bites.
And real leverage. Finish your dinner with Papa Murphy's new $5 Faves value menu. Order online at papamurphys.com. Love at $5 each.
This is your house. Houses are expensive. Expenses keep life from being simple. But there's a simple way to stay ahead of expenses. Use the red key and open a hassle-free account. No monthly service charges, no overdraft fees, no minimum balance fees, no hassles. Take the first step to thriving. Use the red key to make your finances hassle-free. KeyBank. Use the red key.
So you're experiencing pain and stiffness when you do this, and burning in your arm when you do this?
So, Doc, you think you can help?
Of course we can.
You want to feel good doing what you love. Providence helps you get there. Whether you're a Major League Soccer champion or a weekend warrior, our goal is to get you back in your game. This is what it means to go beyond the park.
Hi, I'm looking for my first Toyota.
The Corolla is a great choice. It's super reliable, so it'll be with you for a lot of firsts.
Wow, I'm really going places.
In a Corolla, right?
During Toyota time, get 0.9% APR financing for 72 months on a reliable 2016 Corolla. Offer ends May 31st. For great deals on other Toyotas, visit Toyota.com.
First things first, your keys.
Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back to Providence Park. Moments away from the start of tonight's match between the hometown Portland Thorns and visiting FCKC. Mark Parsons keeping his team connected and collected. during this Olympic exodus. Michelle Betos gets the nod in goal once again. Mengus will wear the captain's armband again, and she'll anchor the back line along with Kat Reynolds. Some scoring punch in the Thorns midfield and some pace too. And keep your eye on Mana Shim, a critical midfield cog.
She is. You know, Mark Parsons talked about her before the game and talking about all the information he gives her and how he lets her take over and kind of disseminate that information throughout the team as to not overwhelm anybody, but she really is that cog that's going to hold it together. You see it. People step up. You know, you've got a few players missing, and she's the one that they're counting on, and I think she's great and up to the task.
Sade Pratt getting her first start. The call-up will be in that midfield. Nadia Naeem will be up top, and she has proven to be a legit scoring threat over her career and here with the Thorns. FC Kansas City will be missing 3 key starters due to Olympic call-ups, but whenever Nicole Barnhart is in goal, this club has always got action. As Janine said, one of the game's best. No Sauerbrunn on defense, but Averbush, Bowen, and Taylor so solid in that back line. Erica Timrak has Janine's eye.
She does. You know, I think she sometimes gets a little understated. She's not the one that's leading in the statistics. Shea Groom up top has a few more goals and has done a little bit more, but she's the one that's been there the most, has been the most solid. She's that consistent piece, and you have to look out for her because she's going to run a lot of their midfield.
Some speed and finishing power up top. Shea Groom, always a threat. She scored against Portland in the match earlier this season, as we said, resulting in a 1-1 tie that was played at Kansas City. That was way back in April. That seems like 5 years ago. But we're just a couple of seconds away from the start of this thing. We're at Providence Park, kind of a gray, chilly July day. Temperature mid-60s, winds out of the southwest at about 10 miles an hour. A little bit of drizzle on and off. Wondering how much that will impact tonight's performance.
You know, it depends on who you are as a player. For me, this is my kind of game. I like night games. I like playing when it's a little bit cold. You get out there, you keep working, and it just feels so comfortable. It feels like the night is made for soccer.
Portland at 7-0-5, unbeaten this season. FC Kansas City at 2-5-4. The visiting bunch from Kansas City wearing their blue uniforms. Portland red from top to bottom. And the first half will start with FC Kansas City kicking off and heading right into the Riveters. The Blues coming off that 2-0 loss against Washington and looking for the upset tonight. And we're underway. The Portland Thorns and FC Kansas City, presented by Alaska Airlines. Shout out to McDonald's, the presenting partner of the web stream, and we're delighted to have all of you with us tonight, near and far. Some critical matches in the league, Janine, as we mentioned, already in the books. And this is the last NWSL match of the night. A lot of folks paying attention to this one.
There is, you know, and every game is important. Every game, it seems like there's, you know, something on the line. And as you said, these teams are really tight, so there's not a lot of space up in that upper rank.
FC Kansas City looking for the major upset, and right away testing Portland's defense. Here's Pratt. Labonta recently signed with FC Kansas City, guilty of that foul. It's interesting, Janine, when you look at FC Kansas City over the last couple of years, as Labonta will get a talking to, last couple of years, this is a Andonovsky club that have started, these clubs have started slowly but have built. Last year, you know, this is a team that started at 2-5-2 by the end of June.
Yeah, you know, but the thing is they have a really good, solid, experienced coach with a proven track record who's done a great job with the team. So sometimes it does, you're not always fast out of the gate, but you're building something of quality, and that's obviously what he's doing there.
Nadim just cleared as she trips. And you mentioned Andonovsky, the 2013 NWSL Coach of the Year, and then takes this club to championships in 2014 and 2015. Last year, FC Kansas City's surge began about August 8th, and they just took off and never looked back and were unbelievable in the playoffs, winning their second straight championship.
You know, it's a long race. We always talk about week to week what's going on, but, you know, it has to happen over the season and then definitely at the end.
Barry Hill sneaking up. coming from way back in that defensive position to try and get something at Barnhart. Beautiful ball. Here's Rasso.
Not too tough for Taylor to deal with. She just kind of holds her off the ball, and then Barnhart's able to come up and clean it.
You love the ball from Brynja's daughter into Rasso, but you're right. Taylor doing a great job on this defensive front. You've got the two best defensive teams going toe-to-toe tonight. These are clubs that don't give up goals.
You do, really solid. Like we said before, you know, Kansas City hasn't scored a lot, but they haven't allowed a lot, you know, and so neither team is willing to just give something away and try to make up ground on the other end.
You mentioned FC Kansas City's a little bit of a drought scoring. You know, they're second to the last in goals scored as coming into today's action. And they've only scored 2 road goals, Janine. And if you're Portland, if you can hunker down on defense and just do your job, you got to like your chances.
You do, but you know, the Thorns have a lot of respect for Kansas City, and they're not expecting them to come out and just, you know, not do well because they're on the road. I mean, they are a quality side, and as we've said and talked about, this is a team that's building, that does build, that is quality, that's not just looking at the immediate, but the long term. So I think you have to be careful and watch what they're going to do as they come out.
Smartly played by Bowen. You're going to see an awful lot of her the rest of this season as she finishes up her schooling. Bowen, the New Zealander, quality all the way.
Nice to see a Kiwi out there.
Rain coming down a little bit more strongly. Dangerous here. Betos is going to have to be big. Leaving it. Betos bobbles. Boy, Silva had a chance right there. Anywhere but at Betos, and that may have found the back of the net.
That made Michelle move just a little bit. Nice quick play to cover that. See the ball, the entry ball in. Just a nice quick shot, but Betos is there. She's able to get her hands behind it and cover it up.
Some breakdowns in that sequence by the Thorns. And Silva and FC Kansas City darn near scored the game's first goal. And we're early, only in the 5th minute. It's an absolute who's who as far as players that FC Kansas City hasn't been able to portray this year, whether it's Leanne Brown or Holiday, Buskowski, Bogus, Lepelbit, Hagen. I mean, retired, gone via trade. It's just amazing, you know, and obviously LaRue and Rodriguez out with due to pregnancies. This has been a tough road for Andonovski to hoe.
It is, and it seems like a lot of the teams are in the same position between losing players, people retiring, but it's, you know, it shows very well that the quality of the league is still very good, even with these players moving on.
Big one hop to Barnhart.
Just a nice little test. Rasso just kind of puts it in there and makes sure she's paying attention.
Mark Parsons, head coach of the Thorns, said they really want to challenge Barnhart and see if they can draw her kind of off of her perch a little bit, draw her off with some crosses, maybe get her to come out of her comfort zone and see if they can steal a couple.
Yeah, try to find that kind of space in between, if you will, the one where she really has to make a decision. The balls inside the 6 and close to her are very easy. She's going to get any of those. But those balls kind of a little bit farther, maybe find out where her range is and where her comfort level is, try to find that place, and then use that service to make her make a decision and move her about the box.
How big will Averbush be tonight for FC Kansas City on that back line?
I think the two of them, her and Taylor together, are going to be really good. They're, you know, good, strong defenders. They anchor that back, and like we said, you know, they are solid. You've got the New Zealander out on the other side. So, you know, they're a good defensive presence, and you've got Reed on the opposite side, who also gets up the line. So, you know, they're a good, solid back. Like Mark Parsons said, trying to get through them is going to be the challenge.
Nicely played by Brynja's daughter, but the Thorns give it right back. Silva leaving it for Labonta. Smartly played outside. Parsons expects FC Kansas City to switch fields quite a bit. switch the point of attack and try and stretch that Portland defense.
Right, again, trying to look for that space. They're trying to create a little bit of space with the ball movement, trying to see if there's any holes. You know, again, early on in games, you know, teams often try to look at each other, try to find out where the weaknesses are, or if that space opens up on one side or the other, if someone's not keeping up and if they're not tight as a unit.
Turning and looking is Groom. Groom again, and Betos way off her line. Groom and Betos know each other very well in the challenge department. It was that earlier match this year where Groom and Betos collided, and that's when Michelle injured her shoulder.
Yeah, you can see the explosiveness and how she's going to be really tough to handle. I mean, Shea Groom has the goals, and that's why. She gets the ball, her first touch turns her, she goes upfield. She has a mindset to attack, and that's exactly what she did. Made about 25-yard run, 25 to 30-yard run on that, and got into the box.
Scoreless here in the 9th minute. It was interesting last week in that Portland's victory over Sky Blue. 6 starters gone, but Amandine Henry was here. Not tonight. Who will be the spark plug from the midfield in terms of that kind of magic?
Right, you'll see, you know, what influence that she did have on the game by how they come out.
Nadine. Really nobody to pass it to on that crossing effort. Pratt had no chance. And here comes FC Kansas City on the counter. Timrak double teamed, and she'll leave it.
It's a good switch from Laddish.
Reed will chase that down. Beautiful ball. Ooh. Love the effort by Groom there. FC Kansas City with the early momentum. They've challenged.
I tell you, that was a quick ball in, and like I said, Shea Groom, she has the attacking mentality. She doesn't have to think twice about it. You know, there's not much she can do, but she does something.
Groom starred at Texas A&M, but is a Liberty, Missouri native, so kind of a hometown player, if you will. Was rolling along last year until that foot injury. Fill up your tank with 8 gallons of gas or more at any participating 76 station and get 2 tickets to an upcoming Thorns game for the price of 1. Let's not all rush the field at once, people. For full details, go to thornsfc.com/76 while supplies last. This is a very aggressive, connected Kansas City defense. You'd expect nothing less. It's a trademark of Andonovski. Bowen. Boy, and right away, you heard the whistle, and it's a good thing. Hitting the deck was Reynolds, but Timrak guilty.
Good quick step just to get that ball up, and ends up clipping her in the arm a little bit.
Some on and off again, light rain and misting. Footing will be really critical tonight. The Thorns yet to test this FC Kansas City defense, and Barnhart. Here's Rasso. She and Reed battling. Rasso trying to find Nadine. Here's Shim. That shot blocked and gobbled up by Barnhart.
Yeah, again, another explosive player. Haley Rasso on the outside. She does a great job. Little touch, gets around, tries to get the ball in. Wish Shim could have gotten a little bit of a foot on it to set herself up a little bit better. But again, at least she's trying to go forward, and she's looking at goal.
Berryhill will just clear it as McCarty was bearing down on her. It'll be a FC KC throw-in. Goals will be at a premium tonight. Stingy defenses, quality keepers. Again, out wide is McCarty, marked by Menges. That's a good battle right there. Another dangerous situation coming up for Betos and company. O'Reilly takes most of the corner kicks for FC Kansas City. Obviously, she's up with the national team.
Right, but they've got some numbers forward. You know, they're putting almost everybody up in the back of the box. Just, I think, looking to, you know, put it in the middle and see what they can get out.
It was a line drive from Tim Rack that nobody could get ahead on for FC Kansas City. But Laddish is going to leave it for Averbush. Beautiful ball inside that 18. A miscommunication there between Tim Rack and McCarty. How can the Thorns settle things and, whether it's possession style or a direct style, get something going on the attack?
You know, I think maybe just moving the ball around a little bit to get that feel for it, so that you feel the patience, you feel the possession, that you're good and solid on the ball, which leads to a little bit more of a, you know, positive mentality, and then you feel like you can be successful in the attack. And I think that kind of comes out of the things that go below, right, in the defensive and midfield third.
Brynja's daughter coming up limping. She got kicked either in the shin or the foot, something like that. She's walking gingerly, but it looks like she's okay. We'll play on, and here's Averbush. Timrak able to turn the corner a bit on Bure, but she leaves it for Laddish. And again, point of attack will change for FC Kansas City.
So again, you talk about understated, you know, and I know it's not the most exciting thing, but Timrak makes a really nice run across the field. She drew through 3 people to her, right? Lays the ball off, and the rest kind of happens around her. They get the ball into the box. You know, it's not what they wanted out of it, but they are getting really good movement. Kansas City has great movement off the ball. You'll see those 3, especially in the middle, exchanging places, and they're not staying in one place too long and doing a great job. Like Mark said, that they were going to try to do that, is move the ball around on them.
Timrak again, Weber marking her. Timrak nicely played, and again, a dangerous ball. Almost ricocheting off a Thorns defender.
That's nice tracking by the Thorns defender, and she was in the perfect position to get that ball cleared.
Timrak with the curler and batted away.
That's a great save by Betos. She had enough patience to stay with the ball. She didn't think it was out. It was a little bit of a bent ball. You'll be able to see this ball going to the far post, but Michelle stays with it the entire time. Timrak just spins around. She again gets that little ball off. It's a bent ball. That ball was at least going to hit the post. That's great coverage. Great job by Michelle Betos.
You know, that had to sting. That right shoulder has just given her fits since the injury against FC Kansas City in April. But that was the big right paw, the corner. Laddish will tee it up. Kansas City certainly not looking like a 2-5-4 club, with but 6 goals to their credit.
Now they're challenging, and they spent some time up in their attacking third so far. They're 16 minutes into the game, so they're looking really good. On the other hand, Thorns looking just as organized and good on defense. You've got a nice clearance out by Berryhill, and then the rest of the team, you can see and hear them talking, pointing, organizing, and making sure that everybody's doing their job as they pull everybody up.
Berryhill and Weber getting starting nods again, playing out of position, seeing if they can duplicate how well they played defensively last week in that victory over Sky Blue. Menges going toe-to-toe. What a great job by Emily.
So this is one of the things you asked earlier about kind of what the Thorns are going to have to do. In this last series of plays, Monashim is a little bit too low on the field. She looks like she's almost playing a 6 or a holding midfield position, which really, you know, she's underneath, in that case, Dagny. And Dagny, I think, is the one that you want to play lower on the field. Get Mana up, have her be a target, have her be that next player that they're playing through the midfield and that connection to the forwards.
Fans, mark your calendars now for the 2016 NWSL Championships. happening Sunday, October 9th in Houston. Be there to support the league, the game, and hopefully the Thorns. Tickets for the NWSL Championship game go on sale Monday, July 11, 8 a.m. Check out the information at the bottom of your screen to get tickets, and those prices start at $20. Start making plans now to be in Houston for the NWSL Championship in this historic 4th season. The irony if Portland were to make it to the championship. Last year, of course, the city of Portland hosted the championship match between Seattle and this FC Kansas City group, won by FC Kansas City 1-0. But the league once again determining, going to that neutral site way ahead of who qualifies, and Houston gets the nod this year.
Well, they also have a great venue, so yes, it would have been nice if the Thorns could have played here, but you know, I think Portland would just be happy going there.
Oh yeah,
not going to complain about where, but
no doubt about it. The Thorns, of course, winning the NWSL Championship in 2013, beating Western New York on the road. Laddish takes a tumble. So a free kick for FC Kansas City. And this has been a dangerous group in and around the 18 and the 6. Betos has had to be on her game. And Barnhart's been just kind of a bystander at this point on the other end.
Well, you can see Betos again out there, you know, organizing her wall, her two-man wall. But the defense still, you know, they've shown very well in dealing with the attacks that the Kansas City team has had in the last 10 to 15 minutes.
Betos had a notion, but then held tough on her line, and the foul is going to go against FC Kansas City. For a second there, I thought Michelle was going to come out, but then retreated quickly and stayed home.
Yeah, which is good. You know, that's the thing you want to see Michelle do, is make those calls where let her defense do their job first. You don't want to come out and try to do their job, because if you do that, there's no one doing yours. So that was well done by her. But also, if you see the defenders, it's really tight marking. There's not a lot of space between the forwards, midfielders, and those defenders who are tracking really well in the box.
Weber into space. Nadim and Pratt close. Nicely done by Labonta, heading it out of trouble. And again, FC Kansas City will set up shop defensively and build.
That's a pretty aware ball by Labonta to know where her player was. She saw Taylor and she just didn't hesitate, got up in the air and just headed it right to her.
Reynolds, this is trouble here. Are you kidding, Michelle Betos? Mishit by Kat Reynolds, and Betos makes a terrific save to deny the Blues.
Unfortunate turnover, but Betos was there. She was ready for it, and that she's always there for her teammates, and that kind of shows that's typical of Michelle Betos. Not waiting, not losing, you know, her concentration. She's right there, steps up, makes herself big, and that's a great big-time save.
Laddish with the 1v1 breakaway after the poor back pass by Reynolds, and Betos just got big and makes the save, and here comes the rain. Betos has made 2 terrific saves so far this game.
She's done well. She looks confident, and she always does. It's nice to see this composure. There's just like another little level of composure in her game that's developing and really coming on strong, and that's a prime example of Michelle doing a great job in that situation.
Michelle Franch, who's been nursing an injury the last few games, is available tonight. And it's a great luxury for Parsons. We've talked about it almost every match, Janine, just the fact that the Thorns have such quality keepers to choose from.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's nice to have a wealth of riches, you know, when you can have more than one good player in there. It's always nice to have a backup.
A.D. Franch has been so rock solid when she has gotten her turns. Acquired this season, and a great pickup by the Thorns.
Nice to see that there's a home for all these young players, that you can have two quality keepers that can get in there, raises both of their games and able to train together and fight for that position.
McCarty with the beautiful pass. Timrak off the post. Unlucky. Timrak has threatened over and over again. The Blues are done, and there it is.
Knocking on the door. That's just a little unfortunate for the Thorns that they just couldn't clear that ball out with good timing.
Shea Groom mops up. It all starts with the knock against the post. And FC Kansas City just didn't quit playing.
Yeah, McCarty was able to get that ball back into the box, and then they just weren't organized enough. And Groom, of course, is there. If they're able to get that ball out a little bit, you can clear those players out of the box. But unfortunately, they weren't able to do that. And that all starts again. I don't want to say maybe I said something, but with Erica Timrak, she causes things to happen. She gets that ball. She's the one that hits it off the post and kind of gets them in that position, which disorganizes the defense. That's a very difficult series to kind of stay with and through and maintain that solid unit.
And then McCarty able to collect herself, and with the great service that Groom is able to head home her third goal of the season.
Just some really quality players that have been there for a while and are, again, growing into the professional ranks, and you can see what they do. This is a great example of a really good quality side.
You just had the feeling, I did anyway, that it was just a matter of time that FC Kansas City was going to be able to beat Betos. She's been making save after save, but this has been a relentless attack.
Yeah, that first save on that 1v1, that's huge. That's a huge save, not only for her, and she kept him off the board, but to show what she can do. And it's just unfortunate she can't cover everybody, and if those players get open in the box, she's at a severe disadvantage there.
So once again, Janine, the Portland Thorns playing from behind.
But this is when we talk about the difference in this team, in years past. Like, how do they do? And they've reacted so well. You talk about quality, consistency, training habits, what the environment is. What this team is doing right now is really good. So, again, I think you're going to see this team and who they are in this situation.
The Thorns trailing Orlando on the road 1-0, and then score 2 goals in the last 10 minutes to defeat the Pride 2-1. And as we saw last weekend here in town, Portland trailing Sky Blue 1-0, end up winning that game 2-1. Now they're going to have to do it again.
Well, we'll look for that momentum shift and see if the Thorns can kind of swing it in their favor. They're minute 2 after the goal, they're up in the Kansas City area, and see if they can kind of take control of that, figure out what they need to do. They had a little huddle in the middle of the field after the goal and talked about things. So I think they're formulating and ready to, make that plan and carry it forward.
Nicely played by Bure, and Menges will track it down. Keep in mind, folks, it's only FC Kansas City's 3rd road goal.
That's not so many.
That's not so many. I mean, that's in 11 games, they had scored 2 road goals. 11 total games, obviously, on the road, 1-3-1 coming in. But here the Blues are leading this 1-0. And they look organized and confident.
They do. I totally agree. And again, that goes to that quality and consistency. It's nice to see. It's nice, and they're going to bring it. That they're not just going to come in here and might not have been doing well, but this is what they are.
Groom slots that far post, no chance. So Betos denies Timrak, and then Laddish. Then a FC Kansas City shot off the post is collected by McCarty, who finds Groom. And with the nifty redirect, heads it past Betos, and that's where we stand, 1-0. FC Kansas City has got to know where those goals are coming from in the Thorns lineup. Dagny, Nadim, and they have attracted Rasso, obviously, with the speed, and those players have attracted a ton of attention.
They have, you know, and you've got Shade Pratt on the other side, and you can't understate her speed either. She can be very devastating, and I think if she finds her groove, she might be a little bit of a surprise for the Thorns tonight.
Well, that would be a pleasant surprise. Pratt's got a ton of speed. On occasion, the touch eludes her. And there's Nadim with that slick turf going down, and you can tell Nadia is a bit frustrated at this point. She and Brynja's daughter with the huge goals last week to bring the Thorns back from that 1-0 deficit. And they're the targets tonight. FC Kansas City just taking its time, playing possession football. Better defense by the Thorns, and they'll just scoop it into an open area.
I think the Thorns are having just a little bit of difficulty. You know, Kansas City has their outside back pulling up. You've got such a mobile midfield that players on the weak side, the defensive players, are getting a little overwhelmed. So when they swing the ball, the Thorns are dropping a little bit low. If the Thorns win it, they have no one up top to really hit to. So you see that they're trying to figure out like how to basically cover the players, cover Kansas City, but also leave some players up high to relieve that pressure and then start their attack.
Parsons has been able to cultivate a culture where this team just finds ways to win. You know, they just grind their way back into matches in which they trail. Tonight it's a bit of a flat start, and it'll be interesting to see if they can, you know, dip their toe into that well again.
Right, well, they showed it time and time again. So like you said, it is the culture. It's in, at this point, their DNA as a team. So we fully expect them to do that. And I think, you know, if they're patient enough, that's what they're going to do.
'31st minute here at Providence Park. Cloudy, chilly night, rain off and on. Unusual for this time of year here in the Rose City. Dagny with the header. Rasso coming hard, Pratt as well, but there's Barnhart.
Tough kind of ball in. I wish Dagny could have found something a little bit more than playing that ball right to the keeper, especially with someone like Barnhart. You know she's involved, you know she's right there. Again, you want to kind of move her around, and something right to her doesn't cause her to make that decision that Mark wants them to make Barnhart make.
10:30 a.m. anyway. Means nothing anymore. You ask for it, you've got it. All-day breakfast is finally here at your locally owned McDonald's. Here's Tim Rack again. She has been terrific this first half all over the pitch. Just nice combination play by this FC Kansas City group. Nicely played by Weber.
Good little 1v1 defending from Mallory Weber. Take the ball off of her.
Confidence builder for the rookie. Earlier tonight, Western New York holds off Seattle. 3 big points for the Flash. Washington shuts out Chicago. So the Spirit with 3 points of their own. Sky Blue a winner as well. So as of this moment, Portland with 26 points, the Flash with 24, and the Spirit with 23. Things tightening up. Dagny and Silva going toe-to-toe. Whistle finally blows, and Silva will get nicked on that call.
A little bit of spicy play going down there in the end line. It's good, though. You see Dagny there again, just covering ground. You know, she's all the way end line covering that player coming through.
Mirrors what she did last week. You mentioned the GPS. She crushed it. And as Mark said, covered every blade of grass, did Brynja's daughter.
Right, and that's what you need. You know, you need those players that are going to, you know, they'll be the workhorses and get the job done, make sure that things are covered, people are covered. You know, so she's been great. That's such a great position for her. I love to see her in there and what she gives to this team.
Reed with a nice step through, and she's just going to keep battling, going against Berryhill here. Middle of the pitch and coming to this near sideline to Bowen. Parsons said that they're going to switch the point of attack. Will this FC Kansas City team? They will do whatever they need to do to get us disconnected and disorganized on defense in terms of switching fields. They've done a nice job. Portland has hung in there, but you see why Parsons was aware of that.
Right, you know, when we talk about it all the time, we ask our teams to do it, we ask our players, you know, in the different levels. You want to move the ball around, you want to play with possession and then switch side to side because you're trying to open up that defense. Kansas City's good at it. They do a really good job of sticking to the plan, of playing the game. I think they play a really, really nice game of soccer.
Desiree Scott with Canada, Sauerbrunn and O'Reilly with the U.S. national team. And of course, as we mentioned, the Thorns missing 7. Nicely blocked by Menges as McCarty was teeing up with that left foot. Menges plays it big.
We have to call her the Iron Lady of the back or something. Menges does such a great job for the Thorns.
And such a tribute to her, wearing the captain's armband with Sink and Heath, obviously, with the U.S. women's national team. And Menges gets the nod. Another corner for FC Kansas City. Averbush battling. Laddish takes it over. Watch with the left. Right at Betos.
They don't waste much time. You know, it's nice to see Kansas City taking those shots. Need to get a little bit, Thorns need to get a little bit more pressure on those midfielders or those players coming through, which is hard. Kansas City has such great movement off the ball. It's not easy to track their players, and I think that's some of the space that Kansas City is finding with that movement.
And forgive me, Sink, of course, with the Canadian women's national team, just the greatest player that country's ever produced. So forgive me, Sink. I like the ball at Shim's feet with a little room to move. Mark talked about pockets and spaces for Shim.
Yeah, they've got to get her on the ball a little bit more. Thorns aren't really finding her, and like I said before, I think some of it is where she's finding herself. Now she's a little bit higher up the field, which is good. They really, you know, that the Thorns have to apply that ball movement, that same kind of idea that Kansas City has done, and that is working for Kansas City.
The Thorns yet to really test Barnhart, and we're in this 37th minute here at Providence Park. Light rain falling. FC Kansas City in town. 2-time defending league champs, and they lead the unbeaten Portland Thorns 1-0. FC Kansas City gives away, gets it back, gives it away, and here's Pratt. Wants to go against Bowen. Pratt really challenged Barnhart there. I think Nicole was a little surprised by that shot from Pratt.
A little bit. She had to turn around the other way. That's a nice ball in. I was a little surprised she didn't cut the ball in. I thought she had the defender beat to the inside. She chose to go outside, but they got a really good quality shot off and actually caught Barnhart going the wrong way a little bit and had to turn on the save in the air.
So the first corner for the Thorns, Nadim with the in-swinger. This is where Brynja's daughter is the usual target. Ball alive in the 18 and cleared.
Also have Berry Hill up in there. It looked like it was a good ball played to her, and she had a good run at it on that one.
Berry Hill a decent target at 5'8", and Brynja's daughter gives you that 5'11" target.
Right. Always that, like we said in that last goal from last game, great touch off her. So obviously she's always going to be quality in the box.
Great job by Silva to win that ball. Here's Pratt again, a little heavy on the touch. Labonta clears it. That ball going off Weber. It'll be FC Kansas City and the throw-in.
Good to see Pratt getting involved. You know, you might see in this game, if you watch, her grow into the game. The last 2 runs she's had, there's been a little bit more confidence maybe, a little bit attacking more at speed off of her first touch with the idea of going forward. So it'll be interesting to see how she changes just in this game alone.
Pratt getting her first start of the season.
That's always a good confidence booster. You know, you want to be put out there in the beginning and try to go the 90 and see what you can give to your team. And it's good for her. You know, it's a good chance, a good opportunity to grow a player and to give her that chance or that time on the field in the situation.
One of 3 amateur call-ups is Pratt. Nice to see Kat Williamson available for play. It's been a long time since she was injured, had the knee surgery, and she could see action for the first time in forever.
Yeah, we would love to see her back and, you know, be healthy and be available. She's given so much to the team, so we're hoping to see her soon.
Rasso with the left foot, big hop to Barnhart, who goes to her knees. Follow the Thorns with flights to over 40 cities. Alaska Airlines serves from Portland, including Boston, Dallas, and 4 LA area airports. For Alaska's lowest prices, visit alaskaair.com.
You know, I'd be interested to see what Bourré's GPS says. She covers a lot of ground as well. She does a good job defensively, kind of being in the right places and closing down those spaces.
Bourré coming off that solid performance last week as well. Flick header and nicely done by Nadine. Here's Shim. Shim looking to crack something, or at least a teammate. Dagny, what a ball. Just a little weighted there, but the Thorns still with an attack going here.
That's the thing we're looking for from Shim. We want her to get involved, get on the ball. She's great at service. She moves the ball around really well for the Thorns. So it's nice to see that's the kind of game that I know they want to play and that they can play. So see in the next couple minutes, they got about 4.5 in the end of this half to see if they can keep that going.
That was a little play that really actually was a big one by Weber, as the counter was in effect for FC Kansas City with Groom spearheading, and great tackle by Weber to dispossess. FC Kansas City turns those counters quickly. McCarty so strong on that ball. Mangus marking her. McCarty, look at Mangus once again.
She says, I'll take that. Haley Rasso looks like she might have fallen and hit her head on that tackle. She kind of got nudged a little bit, and head, I think, went to ground. She grabbed it right away, hoping that she's all right out there.
Trainer quickly heading out here in the 42nd minute.
Yep.
Let's take a look, Janine.
She's just trying to battle for that ball, trying to hold off, and then, yeah, I think she couldn't really catch herself. Maybe her hand did get stepped on, and then it looks like she was holding her head.
So Rasso now sitting, but still not to her feet. Rain coming down a little harder as Haley will be the subject of our halftime feature. Looks like she's up and running.
Good to see her up on her own. Take a little second, make sure she's all clear and good, and then she can come back in.
.43rd minute. Visiting FC Kansas City, leading 1-0 on Groom's goal in the 23rd minute. Sade, Pratt, dispossessed nicely by Labonta, and then commits the foul. Oh boy.
I tell you, the Kansas City midfielders have a great work ethic. I mean, Labonta, you know, maybe been a bit part of the thing. She comes all the way back and then follows it to make sure good separation, holds the player off, turns with it. This is just like quality work, good solid work, good defending. Well done.
Thorns fans thought that might have been the break as Pratt with the speed was bearing down on Barnhart, but good defense by Labonta and FC Kansas City. Grasso steps in, and here's Dagny. Nadine trying to slip Laddish and into space. Cleared by Timrak.
You know, Nadine gets the ball in that area, comes out of it, goes back into it. It would have been nice to see her drop it to Barry Hill, or maybe find Dagny underneath a little bit and switch the ball as well.
The Thorns trying to create some magic late here in the first half.
Let's see if they're going to throw. They only have about, well, depending on injury time, throwing more people forward to try to get something out of it, or if they're going to just wait and play out the half.
Getting close to stoppage time. Here's Rasso. Rasso with the ball, centering into a lot of traffic. I thought she'd pull the trigger. Brynja's daughter will, right at Barnhart.
We'd have liked to see Rasso be a little bit more selfish in that. It took her a couple touches to get into it, and maybe that kind of threw her out of her rhythm, didn't have the confidence to kind of continue the forward run on that and decided to pass it off. But I think she had a better chance on it. Would have been nice to see her kind of take a strike at goal.
The Thorns starting to get some run of play action a little bit more cohesively thrown at Barnhart. 1 minute of stoppage time, and we're about 25 seconds into that. FC Kansas City will be content to take a 1-0 lead into the locker room. Dangerous here! Dangerous here! Can Nadine catch up? Oh my goodness! Late in stoppage time, Nadine just couldn't catch up to that ball. FC Kansas City defensive breakdown. And Portland so close to the equalizer.
There's a lot of luck and unluck in that. Just a little bit of a slow played ball back, and Nadine is ready to pounce on. Just couldn't quite get her balance to get to that ball.
Averbush was there to make sure that Nadine wasn't able to capitalize on that weak back pass. So the lead will stand 1-0 in favor of FC Kansas City. Shea Groom with the goal to give the visiting Blues the lead in the 23rd minute. Portland head coach Mark Parsons joining us. Your take on that first half and what's got to change in terms of momentum in the second half, Mark?
Yeah, backs against the wall there for large periods. I think we pressed a bit high, saw us start getting some success. I think what they've done really well is as soon as we win the ball, they're on us. And if we can break that first bit or just hook it onto someone else who can break it, I think we haven't really got a difference from last week and this week. We haven't really got our attack going. It's been a smash ball long, or we get robbed of the ball. So I think we can take care of the ball, and you saw it at the end there. We won it higher and we took care of it, and we've got a couple of half opportunities. So we've got to break this momentum because we're definitely up against it for a while.
Will you be looking for a specific individual or two people to do that, to get your attack going, or do you think it's more of like the entire team that you need to?
No, the whole group. I mean, that's Kansas, I think, have outbattled us there in 45, and that's something that we haven't seen large share parts of this season. So we've got to do the basics right and compete. I think if the first and second balls bounce our way, we can take care of that ball in the first stage. Then I think our attack can follow from there.
Mark, thanks so much for taking the time. Good luck in that second half. That's Portland head coach Mark Parsons. Obviously, he'll be chatting with his club, the Thorns, trailing, visiting FC Kansas City 1-0 on Shea Groom's goal. Entertaining first half. Back in just a second.
This car wasn't made in Detroit, or Tokyo, or Mexico City. This, the Mini Clubman, was crafted in Oxford, England, a place where mass production isn't all that massive. And each car is engineered, customized, tuned, and crafted one at a time. Introducing the new Mini Clubman, made in Oxford.
Mini of Portland, proud sponsor of the Portland Thorns and Timbers 2. We make it fun.
So you're experiencing pain and stiffness when you do this, and burning in your arm when you do this?
So, Doc, you think you can help?
Of course we can.
You want to feel good doing what you love. Providence helps you get there. Whether you're a Major League Soccer champion or a weekend warrior, our goal is to get you back in your game. This is what it means to go beyond the park.
The world is a curious place, full of puzzles still waiting to be solved. Stonehenge, the pyramids, Easter Island, and today, another enigma rises out of the clouds. Who is the face on the tail?
Welcome to the KeyBank Halftime Show. The Portland Thorns trailing FC Kansas City 1-0 here at Providence Park. A lot of new faces in this Portland Thorns roster. One of them, Haley Rasso, the Australian, has been really good for Mark Parsons and the Thorns, whether she comes off the bench or in a starting role like tonight. You know, she was waived by the Washington Spirit in April. Mark Parsons, who coached her last year with the Washington Spirit, could not wait to get her into a Portland Thorns uniform. Haley Rasso, how about that assist the other day against Orlando? Your first point wearing a Thorns uniform, and it was the game-winning assist. Walk us through how that must have felt.
Yeah, it felt really good. I mean, obviously, I haven't been getting as many minutes as I'd like to, but the minutes I am getting, I'm trying to come on and play like Mark's telling me to go direct.
Haley Rasso, how about that assist the other day against Orlando? Your first point wearing a Thorns uniform, and it was the game-winning assist. Walk us through how that must have felt.
Yeah, it felt really good. I mean, obviously, I haven't been getting as many minutes as I'd like to, but the minutes I am getting, I'm trying to come on and play like Mark's telling me to go direct, to make chances, to create plays, so I did that. I mean, lucky Lindsay was there. It was a great finish, so credit to her for that.
So with those members of your club that are with their respective national teams, obviously, folks like you are going to get some more minutes. So how do you calm yourself, make sure that you're ready, and not get too amped up and just go out there and do your job?
I mean, we just have to take the game like any other game, whether you're playing the whole 90 or not. Following on from players like Tobin, Lindsay, Ali, I mean, we just have to work from them, and we know what to do, and Mark's really good with us, and goes through a lot of video work and really talks us through all the tactics at training, so we know basically what to do on the day.
That Orlando match, obviously your club is down and it's kind of dire straits time, but yet the Thorns find a way to win, to hang tough, to keep grinding, to keep saying, hey, if there's time on the clock, we've still got hope. Is that just how this club is? Is that how it is in the locker room, on the pitch at practice, obviously at the games?
I think, yeah, it's definitely something about this team. They're great girls. They're always going to push no matter what minute we're in. If we're down, if we're up, we're still going to keep working. And you can see that. You can see the fight in the girls, that no matter what the score is, they're going to come back out and we're going to fight and we're going to get that point and we're going to win.
So when you were with Washington, obviously you play under Coach Parsons. When you're waived earlier this season, it didn't take long for Mark to make the call. How tough was it for you to wait for that call, or did it come quickly enough where you thought, oh my gosh, new lease on life?
It was pretty disappointing. I mean, it was something I wasn't expecting. So for Mark to reach out to me and to speak with him about possibly coming over to Portland was incredible. I mean, he gave me a second chance and I'm really working here, and I have him to thank, I guess.
Have you enjoyed your tenure here? I mean, this is a town that speaks to a lot of people. Gosh, what are you, 21, 22 years old? You should be having a blast.
Yeah, I mean, I love it here. Portland's a great city. The girls show me places, coffee shops, things, the fans that come out every week. You can just tell Portland is a soccer city, and it's incredible, talking to people, whether it's on the street or at the game, it's just amazing.
It's hard to describe until you're actually in this stadium in front of 16,000. Would you agree? And how much has that touched you?
Yeah, definitely. I hadn't actually played in Portland before, but I heard so much about it, and coming here, stepping out here for my first game, I was just blown away at the fans. They're so wonderful, the girls, everything. It's just amazing.
And they're calling your name. I mean, you've had some outstanding matches off the bench the last 2 or 3. This is that chance where fans are really embracing you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what drives you. That's what keeps you going in those games. Hearing them call your name or support our team, it just keeps you going week in, week out.
Thank you, Haley. Hey, great chance now for fans. You got to mark your calendars. 2016 NWSL Championships coming up Sunday, October 9th. Now, the championship is going to be in Houston, so you got to go to support the league, the game, and hopefully the Thorns. You can find all the ticket information you want at the bottom of your screen. Tickets go on sale Monday. Prices starting at $20. Start making plans now to be in Houston for the 2016 NWSL Championship. All right, our first half segment is in the books. Segment number 2 with me and Janine right around the corner. We'll break things down with highlights, so come on back to Providence Park. FC Kansas City leading Portland 1-0.
Hi, I'm looking for my first Toyota.
The Corolla is a great choice. It's super reliable, so it'll be with you for a lot of firsts.
Wow, I'm really going places.
In a Corolla, right?
During Toyota time, get 0.9% APR financing for 72 months on a reliable 2016 Corolla. Offer ends May 31st. For great deals on other Toyotas, visit Toyota.com.
First things first, your keys.
Toyota, let's go places.
So you're experiencing pain and stiffness when you do this, and burning in your arm when you do this?
So, Doc, you think you can help?
Of course we can.
You want to feel good doing what you love. Providence helps you get there. Whether you're a Major League Soccer champion or a weekend warrior, our goal is to get you back in your game. This is what it means to go beyond the park.
This is your house. Houses are expensive. Expenses keep life from being simple. But there's a simple way to stay ahead of expenses. Use the red key and open a hassle-free account. No monthly service charges, no overdraft fees, no minimum balance fees, no hassles. Take the first step to thriving. Use the red key to make your finances hassle-free. KeyBank. Use the red key.
This car wasn't made in Detroit, or Tokyo, or Mexico City. This, the Mini Clubman, was crafted in Oxford, England, a place where mass production isn't all that massive. And each car is engineered, customized, tuned, and crafted one at a time. Introducing the new Mini Clubman, made in Oxford.
Mini of Portland, proud sponsor of the Portland Thorns and Timbers 2. We make it fun.
The KeyBank halftime show continues here at Providence Park. The Thorns trailing FC Kansas City 1-0. We're at halftime. And shots along with Janine Sparra. An exciting first half early on. It was all Kansas City pushing the pace, finally getting that goal. Portland almost coming up with the equalizer late.
It was, they had a good run of about 15, 20 minutes there, Kansas City did, where they were really pressing, where they had great ball movement. They got some opportunities. The stats show that they had 10 shots to the Thorns 6. And we always say in soccer, if you get about 10 shots, you get a goal. Sure enough, they did.
All right, early on, Michelle Betos tested early and often, and she came up huge.
She's done such a great job, and she's always ready. This nice little quick turn, quick down, great job to smother that ball.
And she wasn't finished. You see the other look at Betos, and again, the defense was pretty contained.
Yeah, Timrak spins. She gets this ball off. Nicely bent. Michelle, great coverage to get a hand to that ball in the upper corner.
Check it out again.
So good. Great footwork. Comes all the way over. Tracks it pretty far. Does a just stupendous job.
But here comes FC Kansas City. And the 1v1 opportunity snuffed by Betos again.
Always ready. Always there. Oh, she's always going to be there to back up her teammates again. Great job. Right off her line. Great save.
But FC Kansas City just kept coming.
Again, Timrak off the post. McCarty on the outside gets the ball back in. Just a great job to serve that ball. And again, great finish by Groom.
Another look at the flick header from Groom. McCarty's first assist of the year. Groom's third goal. Betos saw FC Kansas City take the lead, but here comes Pratt to try and equalize.
Yeah, it takes a nice little touch to beat that player to the outside and then hits it. They caught Barnhart a little bit off going the other way. Has to come back and get it and push it over the bar.
And then in stoppage time.
Soft little pass to the middle. Barnhart tries to clear it with her feet. Nadim can't quite get her balance to get to the ball, and Kansas City got away with that one.
So it's 1-0 FC Kansas City with the lead. Second half about to commence.
So you're experiencing pain and stiffness when you do this, and burning in your arm when you do this.
So, Doc, you think you can help?
Of course we can.
You want to feel good doing what you love. Providence helps you get there. Whether you're a Major League Soccer champion or a weekend warrior, our goal is to get you back in your game. This is what it means to go beyond the park.
The world is a curious place, full of puzzles still waiting to be solved. Stonehenge, the pyramids, Easter Island, and today, another enigma rises out of the clouds. Who is the face on the tail?
Turn pizza night into family dinner night with Papa Murphy's new $5 Faves value menu. For just $5 each, add a fresh garden salad, scratch-made 5-cheese bread, a $5 Faves pizza, or chocolate chip cookie dough. Just $5. It's a real value.
2 more bites.
And real leverage. Finish your dinner with Papa Murphy's new $5 Faves value menu. Order online at papamurphys.com. Love at $5 each.
FC Kansas City breaking huddle, enjoying the 1-0 lead here at Providence Park. Second half about to kick off on a gray, chilly night here in the Rose City. The Portland Thorns 12-match unbeaten streak on the line again. They're faced with another comeback situation, Janine Sparra, and what is going to be key for you to do just that?
Well, I think, part of it, just the way they come out, kind of setting the tone for the second half and what do they want to do. Are they going to take whatever Mark said in the halftime speech, put it out there on the field and start from there and give it the full 45? Or are they going to kind of wait and let the game come at them? So I think the first couple minutes will be interesting to see from them.
Shea Groom's goal in the first half, giving the visiting FC Kansas City bunch the 1-0 lead. We made mention of the fact that FC Kansas City doesn't score a lot of goals, but they play some great defense, and they got to be happy with the 1-0 lead.
It's a good early, nice ball in from Mallory Weber.
The veterans of this Thorns club, Nadim, Brynja's daughter, Shim, Menges, very critical parts of this comeback bid, I would think.
I think you're right. You need those kind of voices or that energy on the field from certain people to kind of coalesce around and go forward. So if you see that come out of them, that's one of the things that's definitely going to lead them in that direction.
Pratt squeezes it through to Nadim. Bourret to the near side, and Rasso. Reed line drive. Not able to be cleared by FC Kansas City. Nicely done by Menges to keep that ball at the right feet at the right time if you're a Thorns fan. Here's Laddish.
I think one of the things you're going to want to see out of the Thorns is a little bit more pressure on the ball. They're there and they're playing, but I think if they went a little bit more pressure, they might cause a few more problems for Kansas City.
Second half kickoff presented by Alaska Airlines. The Portland Thorns trailed on the road against Orlando, trailed against Sky Blue here in Portland. Those are the last two matches, two straight, that Portland has been able to come back from that 1-0 deficit scenario and win the match by the 2-1 score. Rasso tripped. Easy call to make as Reed trips up Rasso.
You see Mana kind of outside of the foot, just got Rasso in. She makes a really nice turn on the ball and just got clipped by Reed in the back.
Free kick for the Thorns. Here's Reynolds.
Interesting to see everybody kind of lining up in the back of the box, just going for a good 40, 45-yard service here. Again, not as much out of that as you'd like to see them do. Kind of a little bit chancy, just kind of, lumping into the box and hoping for the best on it, and with not the follow-up on the runs after the service initially was touched.
Silva dancing and sending it right back to Averbush. Again, to your point, Janine, the ball handlers with room. Dangerous here, Silva! Just wide.
Such a great ball from Timrak, again. She cuts into the middle, sees the player running. I mean, it's just these little things. I mean, it is a big thing. It's a great ball, up to find Shea Groom, and it's just, again, this subtle play, and Timrak does it every game.
Timrak has been fantastic tonight. Exploded onto the scene was the 2013 NWSL Rookie of the Year. Barnhart calls everybody off wearing blue as Rasso was coming hard, but no problem for Nicole.
Again, another service from Monishim with texture, trying to bend that ball in around the back of those defenders, trying to get Rasso in. So it's good. It's a good sign. They are getting forward and they're trying to get in there.
Janine, the Portland Thorns are the only team in the league to not give up multiple goals in a match. FC Kansas City is looking to put number 2 on the board. Look at this ball. McCarty. It's still alive. Wins! Boots it out. What a sequence.
Great support from Michelle Betos. Full stretch, tried to get to that ball, couldn't quite get to it, and then cleared out by her defender.
Grasso nudged, taken to the ground by Reed. And let's see if there is a booking. Yep.
Whether tactical or not, good foul from Reed to try to contain Rasso, who's very quick and explosive, who's about to turn the corner and go straight on the goal.
So Nadine will tee it up via the free kick. The Thorns looking for the equalizer off the set piece here in the 52nd minute.
See if they're trying to target Barry Hill and Dagny. They're both in the box up at the top. And those would seem to be your go-to players and who you want to try to serve or lead toward the goal.
Nothing doing there as Mangus will corral it. Switching fields for Weber. A lot of room to carry. Dagny wants to get ahead on it. Grasso still battling. Coming out of that, though, is McCarty. Bouret. Heavy on that service.
Interesting run from Bowen in that last play, finding herself all the way on the right side, running up across the top, basically doing a nice round the world run, getting herself back to her position. I thought maybe they switched her. I thought, okay, she's going to be, she's moving up top or something now.
So no Sauerbrunn, who obviously is Kansas City's main defender, called up to the U.S. national team, but Andonovsky's back line has been pretty tough tonight.
Yeah, minus that little bit of a soft back pass.
Yeah.
They've been very organized and strong and haven't had really any trouble with what they've had to shut down.
Nicely played by McCarty, who takes it from Berryhill. Here's McCarty. McCarty again with control. Back post. What a shot! McCarty.
What a great service in and follow up on the goal.
Exactly. So McCarty absolutely puts that on the button.
Unfortunate ball comes back out to McCarty, gets a great service in. Just the onrushing Groom just right there to power it home. Very difficult ball to defend.
Second header of the night for Groom, who played that perfectly, but how about she and McCarty able to combine both goals, perfect services, the headers as the result.
Unfortunate on that clearance out. So McCarty had the initial ball in. Ball got cleared out, didn't quite go far enough, and she happens to get, the ball gets cleared to the same place McCarty is able to pick it up and get that great service back in.
So Groom with the brace, and for the first time all year, the Portland Thorns give up multiple goals in a game.
Again, still early in the half.
You bet.
Just under 10 minutes in. You want to see how this Portland Thorns team reacts to it, what their response is as a team, and if any individuals are leading it or if it's that group mentality.
McCarty was the one that really made that last offensive sequence go for FC Kansas City, winning the battle against Berryhill and then teeing it up for Groom. Just beautifully done. And here comes FC Kansas City wanting more. Grasso. Handball is going to go against FC Kansas City. What can Portland do here in the 56th minute? Still a lot of time, but what can the Thorns do? What must they do to get back in this thing?
I think they have to have a little bit of a better plan. You know, they've had 2 free kicks up and around the box, which weren't really the closest. One was about 45 yards out. The other one about 35 yards out. And again, they just put it into the box. Dagny's good. Berryhill's good in the air. But that's, you know, a tall order when they've got all those numbers back on a free kick and you know it's coming. I think they've got to be a little bit more patient, have that plan, work the ball around, and use a little bit more of their skill to try to beat that back line.
Groom in the first half, Groom in the second half. Both goals via the headers. And Parsons will tell Jennifer Skogerbo to get ready to hit the pitch for the first time in a Thorns uniform. She was signed on July 1st, the defender, who had an impressive stint in the Czech Republic. And she'll come in for Sade Pratt. So the Thorns fans will be introduced to Jennifer Skogerbo.
So it's an interesting change, trying to give the newcomer a little bit of a run out there and see if she can inject a little bit of energy or attack into the Thorns. You know, Pratt has done a good job. She's gotten her feet underneath her. She had a couple of good attacking runs on there. Sometimes just even the change of personnel, you know, will help a team find what they're looking for.
Ball left for Groom. Gorgeous centering pass that was just out of reach for McCarty, but she's able to flag it down inside the 18 and knock it off of Berryhill. How many times have we said the name Groom and McCarty and Bowen and Reed? They've just been all over Laddish. Timrak.
They have hard-working team, good movement. Again, it's just, you know, they're doing what you want to do. With all that movement, that's really hard to track and keep up with. Forces the Thorns to be really organized.
Timrak. Again, 58th minute, a lot of time. But it'll be interesting to see how the Thorns stay organized defensively. Obviously, they can't afford to give up another goal. But really maybe try to open things up, to your point, Janine, a little bit more on offense.
Right, and who they commit forward, you know, like you said, to the offense, right? And Mark talked about, you know, different times in the game, what you ask of people, what you do, how you attack, in what situations. So in this, with 2, really might try to send more people forward and not stay as much numbers up in the back, but try to, you know, if the numbers are going to do a little bit better job than their service or their ball movement has.
Flag goes up. FC Kansas City throw in. And it doesn't appear as if the Blues have any intention of taking the foot off the pedal.
No, they're, you know, again, still playing. This looks very similar to what they did. Same kind of ball movement. You've got the midfielders working toward it, getting open. You know, they stick very much to the game plan. This is their style, and I think, again, this goes to what DNA it is of Kansas City.
Got it. Kat Williamson up off the bench. Wonderful to see number 5, one of the team's better defenders, hit the pitch for the first time since April when she was injured.
And you're going to see 2 things. You know, you're going to see a little bit more of that solid, experienced defender, but you're also going to find that voice on the field, that person that can really come in and make that difference. And again, you know, it can come in different ways. It can come through athleticism, it can come through tactics, technique, whatever, you know, what the team is looking for. It can add these different pieces to it. And so she's been crucial to a lot of the Thorns' success in the past.
Oh, man.
And she's going to be able to give some of that again tonight.
Mackenzie Berryhill off. The veteran Kat Williamson in. Kat, surgery, late April. Her first appearance on the pitch since April.
And definitely a crowd favorite. I think everybody's happy to see her back.
Yeah, Thorns fans letting her know, welcome back, Kat.
So you see the defensive realignment of what they're doing and what they're going to go for here.
Nadine, double team, looking for a foul, but Laddish will play on. Oof. Labonta going down hard. And Nadine sees the yellow come out. Her third yellow card of the season. '62nd minute. A look at the foul. Easy one to make. Easy call to make.
Yellow card given to the Thorns, number 9, Jonathan Lee, and caution card for the Thorns.
Here's Bowen. Grasso finds Bogerbo, knocks it off a defender. That ball will belong to the Thorns off the throw-in. So Janine,
they're needing a little bit of help more around the ball, aren't they?
Well, yeah. I mean, the last week again, 6 starters were gone, but Henri was in that midfield and on the pitch, and what a huge reminder of the difference-making capabilities of the Frenchwoman, who is obviously not here tonight as she is with her national team preparing for Rio.
Right, you know, and Bourret steps into that position and basically takes over for Henri. And while she's very good and solid, she's covered a lot of ground, she's working hard, doesn't have quite the attacking impact that Henri has on the game.
Well, at this stage in Bourret's career, safe to say not even close, as Henri is regarded as one of the best players in the world.
Right.
And Bourret just kind of getting her professional sea legs underneath her. That's asking an awful lot of anybody to fill those boots. Grasso hustling, battling. Kat very calm in finding Shim. Great idea by Brynja's-Daughter, but Nadine couldn't get there in time. Just a little redirect flick header.
Great, and again, so you see Shim a little bit lower on the field, so the back looks more like Williamson, Reynolds, Mangus, and Skogerbo in the back. Shim a little bit lower, Bourret higher than her, so, and then you've got Weber a little bit higher as well. She's not in the defensive line, and Dagny more of like the 10 position.
Grasso battling. Things getting a little chippy, as they say. Timrak picks herself up off the turf. She and Grasso having a conversation. Foul going against Portland. Dagny in on it as well.
And the referee will have a nice little peacekeeping mission out here and discuss the finer points of fair play.
And getting along.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a substantial deficit for the Thorns to overcome with so much firepower missing. Nicely played by Weber, able to get past Bowen. It's a foot race here. Weber Slide tackle by Bowen, but right to Shim. Shim's got Rasso. Shim cracks it, and Barnhart climbs the ladder.
So with the change in not personnel, but in change in lineup and where they are, you can see how that affects the field. Back four is different. Monashim finds herself in a place to be able to pick up that ball and also puts her, that's a shootable ball from her position, from where she is on the field.
Corner kick for the Thorns. Rasso. Blocked. Skogerbo smartly played to Nadim on this near side. Blocked by FC Kansas City. Bure, clever against Labanta.
Nice little idea. She had some good footwork. Bure really tried to take her, get around her with some nice touches. Just got a little unlucky on the rebound that it came off her and went out for the goal kick.
You asked for it, you've got it now available at your locally owned McDonald's. Your favorite breakfast items any time of the day, all day breakfast is finally here. McCarty, who's got 2 assists, her first 2 of the season, thanks to Groom's finishing acts. Nicely played by Skogerbo, but knocked out of bounds.
It's a good introduction to Skogerbo and see how she's going to do. Good solid defending, stands up McCarty, keeps her outside, and they almost get out of that with a little bit of combination.
Barnhart coming into this match with 4 clean sheets, looking for number 5. Portland's got yeoman's work to get back into this thing here in the 68th minute.
Still plenty of time.
Oh, you bet.
There's no shortage on time. There's just a shortage on the ability to be able to play as if you have something to accomplish, right? You can't take that much time and use all of it. You've got to play with a little bit more sense of urgency, which they are doing. They've had a couple, opportunities to go forward. They've had some nice combinations. They might just have to start being a little bit more direct, just to not take as much time off the clock in what they're trying to do.
I think your direct style, I think we're going to see it. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Looks like Tim Rack just got called for the hand, unlucky for them. Nice to give the Thorns the ball back. See if they can push the pace a little bit of this game.
FC Kansas City a little thin with their roster as Arlett and Newfield out with injuries, and of course the call-ups, and yet it's Vlatko's club leading the unbeaten Thorns 2-0 here in the 69th minute. Portland's 12-match unbeaten streak on the line tonight.
Well, we talked about how this was going to be a close one, how it was really going to push both teams. It wasn't just a given that anything was going to happen, and Kansas City has come in and taken it right to them.
Earlier this season, April 23rd, it was a 1-1 tie in Kansas City. Groom with the game's first goal, and the equalizer by Haran in the 78th minute. Portland scores some late match goals, Janine, in heroic fashion as the offside flag goes up. This is a Portland club that will take you to the bitter end.
Right, and you're seeing it in them. They're not giving up. It's not that they've stopped or conceded anything. They've gotten those players. They're working a little bit with the combination and trying to find each other. Like I said, I think the only thing they need to do is push the pace just a little bit. Once they get the ball and transition a little bit faster forward to try to catch Kansas City off and get a really good quality opportunity on goal.
So the league's 2 stingiest defenses going toe-to-toe in this match. But the visitors with that 2-0 lead. Rasso cuts back nicely. Blocked. Rasso still hustling. Nicely played by Taylor on the block, and up with it, and running is Silva. Kansas City's last line of defense. Pretty tough tonight, Janine.
It is, you know, Rasso did a great job to get around Reed. She's very explosive. She's got good timing on the touch to beat her. Goes in, but you know, when you're going against Taylor and Averbush in the middle, it's not that you're running into open space. You're gonna have people in the way. Tries to shoot it. I think she could have found, I think it was Nadim on the slash who was making a really nice run from the far post. You know, hard call. You like to see people shoot, but with the congestion that they have, you've got to find that little space, and I think that run might have been that space that would have played him in.
Here's that direct play. This would be a huge victory for FC Kansas City. They saw their 4-match unbeaten streak snapped against Washington last weekend in the midst of a really tough stretch. 3 points here would be huge. Silva leaving it. McCarty!
No problem for Beto. She just slides over, gets behind it. Nicely done.
The Blues not letting up at all.
Yeah, Taylor just hits that one out. No questions here. Lets her team get back and get organized to defend as a unit.
73rd minute. Attendance just announced, over 16,000, nearly 17,000 on hand. 16,942 on a cold, chilly night here in Portland. Nadim, so clever. Nadim, and here's Bure. Will she crack a shot? Bounces off some defenders. Whoa, Rasso got clobbered.
A little bit unlucky trying to find or get to that last finish. Bure's in a good place, can't quite find Nadim, unfortunate. But again, you see Haley Rasso, you know, in that explosiveness, in her ability to really get in and cause some problems. She's doing a great job.
Rasso, just a terrific find off the waiver list for the Portland Thorns. She played for Parsons last year. Mark, of course, coming to the Portland Thorns from the Washington Spirit. And when she was waived by the Spirit in April, she and Parsons connected via the phone, and here she is. The young Aussie who was left off the 2016 Olympic team for Australia after having made the World Cup club for the Aussies. That alone tells you she's got that kind of elite talent.
Right, and that's another thing, you know, we talked about it before with some of the players that have come out of the professional leagues, both here and overseas, and how important they are to development and staying in that situation where they can get called up, they can stay played in basically and be ready if needed.
Menges will backtrack, collect, and carry. There's McCarty, though. She has been everywhere, as has Groom. Nicely played by Bure, calmly sending it right back to Menges.
Bure is excellent on the ball. She's very confident, great touch, you know. I mean, doesn't show that she's a young player. She's really good and does a great job with it.
Had a great career at Cal, did Bure. Rasso will find Nadim. And here's Shim, where she can be very dangerous. Beautiful ball to Dagny. Marked right away. She'll leave it. Cat to Skogerbo. Nicely played. Nadim. Bure, one touch to Rasso. Knocked off a reed. Headband comes off as well. Pretty good sequence by the Thorns there, though, in terms of collecting the ball and doing something with it.
It is, getting something out of it. You know, it's interesting. Earlier in the game, I was talking about Monishim being a little bit too low on the field. and wanted to see her a little bit higher, hoping that generally that's where you find your attacking central midfielder. And now with this change, you know, Mark's kind of shifted his players around. That's where they're finding her. They're finding her low. She's getting the ball low, and she's able to get, she has excellent service. I mean, the woman can really find her target and give the right, properly weighted served ball to them, and they're finally starting to find her. So it's a great change in lineup or position for her.
Nadim as the crowd chants. Great opportunity. Can that ball finally get through? And there it is. The Portland Thorns are on the board. Hey, Cat, welcome back.
That is nothing but tenacity. Great service in, initial touch, very difficult place for Barnhart, and the follow-up was the thing that allowed them to get the goal. Great job, great fight, great energy from the Thorns, and that's the thing about them. They don't give up. They keep playing. They believe in each other, and they keep fighting till the end.
Kat Williamson pokes home Portland's first goal, and the Thorns are back in it. All kinds of confusion in that 6. Barnhart laid out, and that ball was just laying there. Silva, though, as Groom teed up the shot, looking for a hat trick. Let's take another look. Rasso.
You can see that ball played in just outside the 6, which makes it a difficult ball for Barnhart to get to. And then you've got the run, a little bit of contact or a little bit of, you know, vision blocking from one play allows that ball to scoot through, and then Williamson with the follow.
And right now, it's the rookie Reed. On that end line, looking for some help from the trainer.
Okay, I don't want to say it.
I know where you're going.
Do you?
Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, let's just go back a year ago.
I'm looking back over, looking down at Michelle Beto standing at the top outside of her box, thinking it's a corner kick for Portland.
Well, I mean, if you go back to a year ago, I'll set this up for you, folks. A year ago, we were talking to then head coach Paul Riley before the match against FC Kansas City right here at Providence. We'll get to it in a second, but I can't believe when Janine said to Paul, would you ever bring Betos up and put her into the fray if the game you needed a goal? We'll get to it in a second. You know what happened. 79th minute. Here comes the corner from Nadim. Crowd into it. And at the last second, Molly Mitchell, just signed by FC Kansas City, will hit the pitch. Mitchell wearing number 24, in, corner. Ball alive. Brynja's daughter holding her ankle, and they'll say the foul is against Dagny. So back to that scenario last year. FC Kansas City leading Portland by a goal. And I think it was in stoppage time, or at least late in regulation, when Betos comes from way off the perch and heads in that tying goal. The goal heard around the country, that's for sure.
It was a great goal.
How did you even think to ask Riley about that possibility before the match even started?
The question was finding a goal, and if you're having a little trouble, what do? And sometimes as a coach, you have to turn over a few rocks, you know, you have to look for it. Who's the person? There's go-to people, and there's people that step up and get it done. And one of the best things about Michelle Betos is her character. She's always there, goes the extra mile, just like she did in covering up that 1v1 earlier in the game. she would do anything for her team, and you could see that energy in her. And it's like, you know what? When the game's on the line or you need something, you go to your go-to people.
It was unreal. Corner kick, Allie Long delivers the beauty, and that wasn't some fluff ball header. It was a laser off the head of Betos that beat Barnhart. That tied that thing in stoppage time, and I'll tell you what, that was one of the most exciting moments of the year last season.
I don't know, we're on the headsets. Do we get to make calls down to the field? Because that's my call.
So another amateur call-up. Sam Lofton, wearing number 32, will come in. And Williamson coming out. Short stint for Kat, but she got Portland's first goal.
You know, get in, get the job done. That's what you got to do.
Reynolds, another deep ball. Dagny gets a head on it. Barnhart flags it down. Hey folks, you can follow the Thorns with flights to over 40 cities. Alaska Airlines serves from Portland, including Boston, Dallas, and 4 LA airports. For Alaska's lowest prices, visit alaskaair.com. Game getting a little long in the tooth. 82nd minute, Portland needing a goal to equalize this thing and pick up a critical point. The Flash and Spirit have won games already tonight to close the gap on Portland if the Thorns weren't able to pick up the 3 or 1 point. Nicely played by Bourret.
Again, great footwork.
Dagny chasing. Taylor just knocks it out. Dagny has been very active and again covered a ton of ground for the Thorns tonight. Unlucky there, Nadine. How about Kat Williamson? Hasn't played since April. Comes off the bench for just a few minutes, but is able to collect Portland's first goal to bring the Thorns back in it.
That is stellar. That's doing, you know, as much as you possibly can for your team.
FC Kansas City looking for more. McCarty. Mangus just tossing off Timrak. Emily has been solid in that defensive back line. Portland on the counter.
Unfortunately, doesn't have much help up there, so it's really in a 1v2 trying to get something out of it.
Nicely done though by Skogerbo to come and knock that off of Labonte. Quick throw in. And there's Timrak reversing field. Giveaway there. Menchel gives it away. Big hop to Barnhart, no problem for Nicole.
Yeah, that ball's got to be outside the 6 and a little bit farther away from Barnhart's range so she can't get to it.
'85th minute. Portland on the road next week at Houston. FC Kansas City will host Washington. Getting awfully close to that Olympic break, Janine.
Yeah, you know, trying to go into it and like keep everybody's eye on what's going on, and then with such a break, that's a really tough one for what you're trying to do and continuity.
Okay, so at some point in stoppage time, if you're Parsons, you're aware of what Betos did last year. Do you think about doing that again?
Why not?
Not the way you roll. Here's Groom. Cut off, so she finds McCarty. McCarty into space for Bowen. A little heavy on that touch.
I mean, 2-1 doesn't get you any more points than 3-1, you know?
No, I'm with you.
So,
you know, it was amazing after that goal, Betos had the presence of mind. She knew she had to sprint all the way back to defend that open goal.
well, one way to not have to sprint or run back is to just score.
Well, after she scored, though, and tied it up, there was still time, right? In that stoppage situation where she thought to herself, I can't be hopping up and down celebrating too much.
She did. No, exactly. You know, again, all about the business and doing what needs to be done.
So, 86th minute, free kick. Shim and Nadim talking to each other. It'll be Mana. Late in this match, the Thorns looking for the equalizer in front of nearly 17,000 tonight here in the Rose City. 12-match unbeaten streak on the line. Watch for Dagny.
Barnhart way off her line on that one. Great clearance.
Ball very much alive. Lofton right at!
That's a great hit from Lofton.
Barnhart,
holy cow,
just took that thing right in the chest as Lofton just teed off.
Ball comes out, headed back in, knocking around. She just takes a touch to the side with her chest and just fires it.
The Thorns still battling. Here's Lofton again, deep ball.
Yeah, I'd like to see her carry that one just a little bit. Lofton played that just a little bit too early and didn't allow Mallory Weber the chance to kind of get into a position that she needed to get into.
Exactly. Rasso, Dagny, Shim, gotta touch it here. Picked off nicely. Taylor, kind of an unsung hero on that defensive back line for FC Kansas City. So solid. Time ticking away. So many times this season, Janine, the Portland Thorns have had late game goals and late game magic. Boy, could they use a little bit of that here. Substitution now for FC Kansas City. Caroline Castor will come in for Timrak.
Timrak has done such a great job this evening. I mean, like I said, you know, she's not one of those ones that always gets all the statistics or the goals, but she causes so much to happen for her team, and that's what you need. You need the people around. You need the scorers, and you need the people who get the ball to the scorers.
Timrak takes some heat, that's for sure, from fans around this league, and she has been terrific tonight. Nicely played by Shim. Portland looking for a little advantage, maybe an FC Kansas City mistake. Nadim so close to that goal in stoppage time in the first half on a Kansas City misplay. Shim will crack it. Leaves it for Lofton instead.
Pretty ambitious ball, top of the 18 on the header. Little tough ball, but I think maybe she could have done a little bit something different with it. Bouret just kind of, you know, very hopefully puts it back toward, and then for a goal kick. Not too tough for Barnhart.
We're moments away from stoppage time, and that will be Portland's last gasp. We're told 3 minutes of stoppage time, plenty for Portland to get the equalizer. But FC Kansas City is playing keep away. Nicely done by Shim. Lofton's going to have to be careful here. Bowen very clever. Three minutes of stoppage time beginning now. This veteran FC Kansas City club has a lead to protect. Let's see if Portland can do something about that.
They've been solid all the way through, you know, even getting scored on afterwards. They're trying to take care of the ball. They're coming back on defense. They're compact, closing down those passing channels. They're really not giving the Thorns any really glaring gaps to get through.
Seen some positives from the Thorns tonight. But Shea Groom with her brace, thanks to McCarty's assists, have had the hometown Thorns playing catch-up from the very first half. Great to see Kat Williamson back on the pitch, and she scores Portland's first goal of the game.
How about that for impactful?
No kidding. It gave this crowd of nearly 17,000 reason to believe that the two-time defending champs have been pretty solid. We're about halfway through the 3 minutes of stoppage time by my stopwatch anyway. Blu-ray leaving it. Portland having a hard time, Janine, just getting into their offensive third.
Right, just trying to get it out of the back corner. It's a nice ball into Rasso.
Sure is. Rasso brought down. Oh, baby.
Referee was right on top of that, and that's what we want to see your attacking player do. Pick up the ball and get into the box. And this time she gets as close as possible. Just maybe a little bit of a holder and arm.
So close. So close. Saberbush bringing her down.
Definitely outside the box, though.
The fans were hoping for a spot kick. Wouldn't that have been something? But the Thorns here will have one last chance for the equalizer. Former Thorn Tiffany Weimer looking to check in as McCarty trots off. What a match for McCarty, assisting on both of Shea Groom's goals.
McCarty did a great job. Works a lot. Seen her play in other games. Just constantly running, exchanging places with the forwards. I mean, this is a hard-working team, and she did a great job. Great service, good quality play for her this evening.
And once again, the Thorns will not go quietly. Here's Nadine. The wall is set. Portland looking for the equalizer. Oh, what a finish. Right into the riveters. Nadine looking for the go-ahead.
This is about all they have left. This is the only thing they have time for, is see what they have planned here, and if they can maximize their last chance.
Nadine skies it, not even close.
A little bit unfortunate that may have been their last chance on that with us going over those 3 minutes. Barnhart trying to do a good job of getting her team together. Again, very organized Kansas City team.
Nadine. Weber! Again! Oh my goodness, what a finish to this match! Barnhart coming way off her line as Weber was so close to the equalizer.
That's a great ball in over the top. Weber running onto it. Excellent cover by Barnhart, knowing what to do. Just putting her body there and completely covering it up in the last 0.0001 second of the game.
And the final whistle blows, and FC Kansas City celebrates the dramatic 2-1 victory over the Portland Thorns, snapping the Thorns' 12-match unbeaten streak.
A great effort, though. The thing you bring out of this, it's a long season. Yes, it's one game. There's a streak, 3 points. But, you know, there's other games. There's many more games to be played. And what Mark Parsons really has to do is learn as much about his team and figure out who's going to do it, who's going to bring it, where he needs to put people. And I think he got a lot of really good information tonight by a solid performance by the Thorns. Know that, you know, the result isn't what they wanted, but you learn a lot in these games. And again, it's not that final elimination game, but it's the game in the middle of the season where you're really going to have that information later on when it really is on the line and it's do or die.
So a really fun match here at Providence Park in front of nearly 17,000. Shea Groom getting the scoring started as FC Kansas City pretty relentless to start this game off.
Yeah, again, Timrak with that ball just off the post. Michelle trying to cover. Ball drops to McCarty, does a really great job to get around Berryhill to serve it in. Great finish by Groom.
See another look at it here.
See that footwork to get around that defender. And you've got those players just waiting in the box.
So 1-0 FC Kansas City leading at the half, and they want more.
Again, another great ball in by McCarty, finding Groom in the backside, running through. Very difficult ball to defend.
Groom just coming out of nowhere, Janine.
Just right down the middle. Great game for both those two young women.
The brace for Groom, Kat Williamson off the bench. And how about this?
Little touch from Dagny, difficult ball for Barnhart to deal with, and Williams is right there doing her job to mop it up and put it in.
Knee surgery in late April, finally getting back on the pitch. And how about this?
She will not stop.
And the Thorns battled until the bitter end with some scoring opportunities late.
You can see Nadine plays that ball in. Weber's right there. She almost gets it, but Barnhart with world-class save to cover that ball up and keep her team on the winning side.
So the 12-match unbeaten streak goes by the wayside. A game effort by the Portland Thorns. But the two-time defending champs, FC Kansas City, get out of Dodge with the 2-1 victory. Our next match, oh, that's going to be a tough one. Seattle in town, July 30th at 7:30 p.m. right here at Providence Park. So that's all she wrote. Portland Thorns falling to FC Kansas City 2-1. The Thorns in that 12-match unbeaten streak going by the wayside. Next weekend's road match at Houston looming. For Janine Sparra, our entire broadcast crew, I'm Ann Schott saying so long from Providence Park. And as always, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Have a great weekend and see you July 30th against the rain.